Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie is Traffik. T-R-A-F-F-I-K. I realized as I spell that you know that because you clicked on it. This is not the Traffik movie about drug trafficking with Michael Douglas and those other people in it. I forget who else was in that. This is about a couple off for a romantic weekend in the mountains are accosted by a biker gang. Alone in the mountains, they have to defend themselves against a gang who will stop at nothing to protect their secrets. So it's starring Paula, Patton and Omar Epps are two people. I know Rosalind Sanchez as well, and William Fichtner from Prison Break. Seen him before. So 7.0 on IMDb. So I'm kind of excited. I saw this movie coming, Traffik. I thought maybe it was about human trafficking. And they kidnapped a girl. That was my initial thought. As you read this, you know, the synopsis really doesn't tell us a lot. So, was I misled? Were you misled? Do we know? I don't know. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do something really different this time. I'm going to start watching the movie. And once I figure out what the plot is, I'm going to check back in with you. And I'm going to tell you what it's about. And I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. And if anything else interesting happens, I'm going to stop the movie. I'm going to tell you about it. And at some point, I'll tell you what I think about the whole thing. Huh? Alright. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back in a little bit. Hey everybody, time for a quick check-in. We're watching Traffik, and we're at the 45-minute, 29-second mark. So real quick, this is not a spoiler alert because it's right in the beginning. It is about human trafficking. So it is. I thought that. That's what I was led to believe, but that's really what it's about. So Omar Epps and Patricia Patton, I think her name is, whatever. They're the main characters in this. They're dating and they get this place up in the mountains that's given to them by one of their friends. They have like a couple of friends. And they're heading up there for a nice romantic getaway. And on their travels up, they stop at a gas station. And this is where they get harassed by the biker gang. And you lead to believe that the biker gang's a part of trafficking. She bumps into a girl in the bathroom who seems like she's in trouble, and somehow she gets slipped a satellite phone. And this is how they start looking at the satellite phone, and they see pictures of women on it, you know, posing like a catalog type way. So this is how they're connecting the dots on their human trafficking. And so as this is going on, they call the police so that they can come and get the phone. Doorbell rings. It's actually the girl from the bathroom. So it's about to get heated up here. Don't know where it's going to come from here. Their other friend that loaned them the house, he's there with them as well. He came up for a surprise visit, ruining their romantic getaway, but that's neither here nor there. One interesting, awesome part, so it's her birthday. That's why Omar is taking her up there for her birthday, a romantic getaway. And he is a mechanic, and he builds cars, and he built her a Camaro SS69. A Super Sport 69. It was pretty awesome. Like that's pretty cool talent to have. But that's what he built her for her birthday. So that was cool. They cruised up in that thing to get up there. So that's where we are so far. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Obviously, I think they're going to try and kidnap her and traffic her. Oh, biggest part. I knew there was one other thing I forgot to say. It's based on a true story. I love movies based on a true story. So, although I know the type of material is a little, you know, it's not great to be, you know, liking a true story about human trafficking. I like movies that are about true stories, not so much about this topic per se. They are making a lot more human trafficking movies. I think to draw awareness. Evidently, this is a big problem. They mention in the movie it's like only second behind arms dealing. So huge. So you know, it's great that they bring this awareness so everybody can be careful, that kind of stuff, and maybe put an end to it. But let's, you know, escape back into the movie a little bit and see what happens. I think the action's going to start happening, and it should be interesting. We'll see where it goes. If anything else interesting happens before the credits, I'll stop in. If not, I'll see you at the credits and tell you what I thought, and I won't spoil it for you. So stick around. Hey everybody. We're at the credits of Traffik. And let me tell you, it is a very intense, edge of your seat kind of film. Not all of them are like this, you know. Some of them are you know, a little bit more dramatized and things like that. But this really, I mean, it's so intense. First of all, I started yelling at the screen. I mean, not really loud, but I'm telling them what to do, you know? And I rarely do that. But I found myself saying, do this, do that, that kind of thing. You know what? Like you're kind of doing horror, like don't go in the basement. That kind of stuff, I was doing that whole time, you know? As they were, you know, fighting for their lives and things like that. The last couple of minutes of the film, I was actually sitting up. I put my feet down, I was sitting up. I was like so intently watching this movie to see what happened. So it's very gripping, at least it was for me. One thing that it happens in all movies, so this isn't really a criticism on just this movie, but every movie, like in this, again, so they're human traffickers coming after Paula Patton. Hold on, let me get her name because I hate when I do that. Paula Patton. 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 I don't know. Paula. Alright, so they're coming after her, and, you know, there's fights and stuff like that, and they all have weapons, whatever, and if anybody takes out one of the people, what they never do in movies is grab the weapon. You know, rarely do you see that happen. It's like a guy comes after, for example, maybe this happened in a movie, maybe not, but a guy comes after her with a knife, and she knocks him out. Well, she doesn't grab the knife. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I hate in movies. Again, this is based on a true story, and I don't know how true it is. I mean, I'm sure it's based on a human trafficking situation of a girl and what happens in her struggles and things like that. But part of this, her character is a journalist, a big city journalist. I'm not sure which city it was in, but probably California or something like that, LA. And she's a journalist, and you know, she might have gotten fired right at the beginning of the film. Again, that's not a spoiler alert, but you know, that plays a role in this movie. And one of the reasons I'm not sure it's true or not, because they don't. One of my favorite things at the end of a true life story, because I know they can't tell you what happens on and on and on, we'd be sitting here watching the rest of our lives, is those little blurbs that come up and say, yeah, this is what happened. Now, they had little blurbs, but it was basically to tell us that 1.9 million women in America are being human trafficked right now, or at the recording of this film. Human trafficking brings in $150 billion a year in money. So, I mean, it is an epidemic, you know, although it might not be close, and, you know, because I've never seen it, not seen it or read it in the paper or things like that. I only really see it in the movies and things like that. But it's obviously happening, and I know it's happening all over the world, so it's terrible. But they were the only blurbs that you got at the end of this film. So that was the other piece of criticism that I had. I was teetering on a 7 or an 8, to be honest with you. It was that gripping and intense. You know, I was really into it. And again, yelling at the TV and stuff like that, and I was like, this might be an 8. But when they dropped the ball at the end, because I want to know more if this is truly about her and the other people that were in this movie, Omar Epps and Rosalind Sanchez, like if those characters really existed. I want to hear more about that, you know, at the end. You know, if any of them survive, we don't know because you haven't seen it yet, but if any of them survive, or, you know, what happens to the criminals that were involved in this. You know, what's their story after this all ended? So that's my only, when you base something on a true story, don't just tell the movie the way it is. You have to lead us off and tell us what really happens in real life after this movie ended. Then I believe it more. And so that's for me. So that's all my feedback right there. I think you should definitely watch it. There's, you know, oh, one other thing too. In human trafficking, and maybe people know this and stuff like that, you think about, like, okay, they're kidnapping women and then they're going to sell them and stuff like that. Sure, but how do they keep them subdued, and, you know, so that they're not escaping and stuff like that? They use heroin. Like, oh, that's just awful. So not only, I mean, these girls are having the worst experience of your possible life, but I mean, now they're going to be even addicted to heroin, you know, on top of it. It's just, it's awful. Alright, so that was one other piece I wanted to share with you. Maybe you already knew that, maybe you didn't, but I realized it after watching this film. So, check it out, know what the topic's about, know it's based on a true story, and be ready to, you know, be intense and sit at the edge of your seat like I did. So, if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Did you find it as you know, gripping as I did, or was it, you know, were you falling asleep? Or let me, any of your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. So, all right, thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.